ever looked up at the night sky and just wondered, are we really alone? I mean, in a universe that should be absolutely bursting with life, why is it that all we hear is, well, silence? It's one of the biggest questions in science, and today we're going to dive into some of the most unsettling answers. So, it all starts with a number. 200 billion. And that's a conservative estimate for how many stars are in our galaxy alone. We now know that tons of those stars have planets, and a whole lot of those planets are in what we call the habitable zone. The scale, it's just mind-boggling when you really stop to think about it. So when you actually run the numbers, you take all those stars, all those potential Earth-like planets, and the billions of years the universe has been around, the conclusion you come to is kind of unavoidable. Life shouldn't be rare. It should be everywhere. Our galaxy ought to be a bustling cosmic metropolis. And yet, when we point our most powerful telescopes to the sky and we just listen, we hear nothing. Total radio silence. Which brings us to this very simple but honestly very chilling question that the physicist Enrico Fermi famously asked. So, where is everybody? And that, right there, is the core of the Fermi Paradox. It's this massive contradiction between the extremely high probability of life and the complete lack of any evidence for it. So let's explore some of the leading explanations for this great silence. And just a heads up, they get more unsettling as we go. One of the most popular ideas is something called the Great Filter. It basically suggests that there's some kind of wall, a universal barrier that life has to overcome. And to become a truly galactic civilization, you have to find a way to get past it. So what could this filter possibly be? Well, the theory says it's a challenge so immense, so difficult, that pretty much every civilization that runs into it fails. You know, on one hand, we have our sci-fi expectation of what advanced life is going to be like, right? Expanding across the galaxy, harnessing the power of stars, all that. But the reality, according to this theory, might be that civilizations rise, they get advanced, and then they just hit a wall. They vanish, leaving nothing behind but silent. And the candidates for what this wall is, well, they're disturbingly familiar. The filter could be the very technology of our own destruction, like nuclear war, or a creation we can't control, like a runaway AI. It might even be something as simple as using up all our planet's resources. And the really scary part is, we have no idea if this great filter is already behind us, or if we're heading straight for it. That is a pretty grim thought. But there is another possibility, an explanation for the silence that is, somehow, even more terrifying. What if the silence we're hearing isn't the sound of failure? What if it's intentional? And this leads us to a much, much darker hypothesis, one that reframes the silence not as an absence of life, but as a deliberate choice. This is where we start getting into the realm of real cosmic horror. The sci-fi author Liu Cixin put forward this incredible analogy in his novel, The Dark Forest. He suggested that the universe isn't an empty stage waiting for us to arrive. It's a dark forest, and in that forest, everyone is hiding. The dark forest theory basically argues that the universe is teeming with life, but every single civilization is terrified of every other one. In this reality, revealing your location isn't a good thing. It's a death sentence. Silence is the only survival strategy that works. But why? Why would that be the default state of the universe? It all comes down to a few cold, hard rules of cosmic game theory, a kind of logic that is both terrifying and ruthlessly efficient. So let's walk through the hunter's logic. First, the number one goal of any civilization is just to survive. Easy enough. Second, resources in the universe are limited, so competition is pretty much inevitable. Third, and this is the big one, you can never, ever truly know another civilization's intentions. The distances are just too vast, so any contact is an unacceptable risk. Which leads to the horrifying conclusion, the only guaranteed path to your own survival is to eliminate any other life you find before it gets the chance to eliminate you. So, according to this theory, the great cosmic silence isn't a sign that nobody's out there. It's a sign that everybody is out there, and they're all holding their breath, listening, just hoping they're not the ones who get found. The silence isn't emptiness. It's the sound of universal fear. Which, of course, brings this whole terrifying idea right back home to us. If the universe really is a dark forest, what have we as a species been doing? Well, we haven't been hiding. Oh no, we've been shouting. For almost 100 years now, we've just been leaking our radio waves into space. Our TV shows, our communications, all of it. We've even sent out intentional hello messages like the Arecibo signal. We even launched probes with literal maps showing any aliens how to find us. Think about that for a second. We're like a baby crying in a forest full of unseen, silent hunters. We have been making as much noise as we possibly can, just assuming the forest is either empty or friendly. The dark forest theory suggests that this is a catastrophically naive assumption to make. And that leaves us with this final, really chilling thought. Maybe the answer to Fermi's question, where is everybody, is that they're all out there, and they've been listening to our broadcasts for decades, just wondering why that noisy little planet in the corner of the forest is trying so hard to get itself killed. Maybe the silence is a warning.